Hey, this is the Bitcoin RoadShow, and we're on the road again after something like 3 weeks. So I'm still in Bulgaria, but I'm in the south of Bulgaria now, near the border of Turkey, and there's a little tri-country area where you've got Bulgaria, Turkey, and Greece. So I'm there at the moment. The thing I'm going to speak about today is HyperCash, sorry. And a little bit more about Libra, and what else? Bitcoin price action, probably. Predictions. I like doing predictions because historically I've been wrong so much, but when I say wrong, I've been wrong in a good way. It's always been half of what I've said. So when I said it would get to a couple of grand, it got to a grand. When I said it would get to 10,000, it got to 20,000. So there's a bit of a pattern emerging in my wrongness. So let's hope that continues. So I've been saying for the last year, I think, probably longer than a year, that the next high to set up for $1 million Bitcoin, if it would be the case. Reminding you that $1 million Bitcoin doesn't mean that you can buy, let's say you can buy 4 Lamborghinis now. You can't buy 4 Lamborghinis once it reaches $1 million, because it means that you also get hyperinflation of the US currency and other fiat currencies. So just to be clear about that one, if it happens and everyone's sitting there going, oh, why can't I buy this thing that was worth $1 million? Because $1 million ain't worth $1 million anymore. Now it takes you 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million. Hockey stick, right? That's what's happening. So back to HyperCash, right? Here's a company that are scum, right? Luckily I only had, I can't be bothered turning my computer on to find out what the value of it was back when, but you can look it up. I lose track of these things. I don't actually look at dollar value of stuff. I just look at how much Bitcoin I can make me. I look at the BTC value at the time, and I see the gains I can make, and that's all I really care about. In some cases, what I'll do is, after I make margin on things, I will keep I will keep the profit margin. I'll take out my capital, keep the profit margin, and that's me hodling. I'm hodling with what cost me nothing. Same as Bitcoin Cash, although I sold most of that, but I do still have some Bitcoin Cash. I'll never buy any of it, but I mean, I do still have some of it. The only thing I really hold that I've purchased is a very small amount of Dash, a very small amount of, a smaller amount of Monero, because it's such a fucking pain in the ass. As far as you take it off exchange, it's a real pain in the ass. You got to download the whole blockchain. So besides that, it's Litecoin and Bitcoin, and it's pretty much always been that way, except for a period between 2000 and, I think it was 2015 to, it could be 2014, it might be 2015 to 2017, where I used to hold Ethereum. I dumped it thinking the ICO thing was going to be a failure next year. It was, it has been, and I think it will continue to be. You know, the same with Ethereum Classic. I actually dumped that as well. I had some left on a couple of exchanges, and I thought I may as well start liquidating all this shit now that I've got time to do it finally. And one of those things was HyperCash, and I had some on a ledger. Luckily, for some reason, I put a lot of it on Binance, so I was able to get it off. But they changed to something else. They changed to HyperCash or something like that, or HC from whatever the hell it was before. It was called HCash before, and I think it's just called HyperCash now. Anyway, they changed it. I don't know why they changed it. They didn't want to get a 51% attack. You know, there's ways you could have handled this. For example, what you could have done is, instead of to remove the risk of a 51% attack, you could have put that blockchain on a closed system and administered those people who have actually hold that coin. You could have administered just a small closed network, and people actually contact you and say, right, let's say, for example, you had to give them the private keys, right? Here's my private keys. You know, here's the access to my coin. Why would that be a problem? You know, that could be a problem for you. You might have to move everything off your, move everything else off that you have, so that you don't put them at risk. But my point is, where's the problem with administering a token swap that lasts longer than 6 months? when people like me go off grid for fucking 3 months at a time. People like me are so fucking busy, we don't have time to sit there looking at every single project we have. And fair enough, you can call that my mistake, and to be honest with you, I don't give a shit. Everything I have in crypto costs me nothing because I've already taken out way more than I put in, right? So it's not like I'm sitting here fretting about it. But anyway, so I'm in the middle. Let's sidetrack for a second. Just how you going, Sally?
Hello, hot.
Yeah, I know it's roasting. Yeah, so let me show you where I am before I blab on too much longer. Dolmen, and it's, you know what, I'm gonna sit here, walk and talk while I come down here. It's the Bitcoin Roadshow. Yeah, so this is the beautiful place that I am. It's in the small mountains. Oh, look at that one over there. It's quite nice. In southern Bulgaria. Now, the southwest of Bulgaria has got a bit more dramatic mountains, so I'll probably head there at some stage in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to be heading towards Greece and Croatia. What do you call it again? That little country in the middle of Slovenia. Sorry, Slovenians. Italy. Yeah. Back to past France, Spain, and yeah, Mallorca. Which is basically, I have to chuck that bus that you saw back there. I have to chuck that on a ferry. Good thing I'm not living somewhere in the world where everything is horrendously expensive, like New Zealand or America or Australia. Still it's quite expensive though, 200 pounds, but yeah, it's taking a whole bus, isn't it? It would cost you that for a motorbike somewhere like New Zealand. Anyway, so HyperCash. Why is it so shit? Well, I bought a lot of these private coins like Zcoin, for example, the zero knowledge proofs. I like the projects, and I thought, there's a chance these ones, I'm going to put a punt on it. Some of them, as I said to you, I never really hold more than the profit that they've made me. And that's not anything against the project, because you could say that in the grand scheme of things, then I haven't put anything into it. Well, I still have. I could have taken that out of it. The simple fact is that market cap is there in that project when I hold it. Anyway, this place is like an ancient ruin. Let me show it to you. My friends decided, I don't know why, they decided to set up their tent here. Now they're sleeping in, probably baking alive. But cool tent. It just pops up by itself. Anyway, check this out. Some ancient Celtic stuff, even though we're in Bulgaria. Oh, I like the way we cleaned up our rubbish last night when we were shit-faced. Huh. Oh, look at that, the log burned perfectly out. Damn, that was a good little fire. You know it's perfect when... I know people will be saying to me now, it's like, oh, you didn't put sand over all this. The stuff was all wet last night. There's nothing to catch a light. We were sitting here, and nothing can catch a light now. It's just not dry enough. So anyway, here we go. Look at this thing. Now, which men moved this around with no machinery years ago? I mean, you're probably taking each little slice about this size. 1 ton, 2 ton, 3 ton, 4.5, maybe 4 tons to 4.5 tons. It's just insane. This little house that someone had, maybe, who knows? It could be a church. I was saying just the chariot parking here. This is where your vacuum cleaner and your you know what I mean, your washing area sits. Got a wee cold store thing in there. I mean, this place is fucking cool. Anyway, how old is it, you ask? Well, let me go around there and tell you. You guys getting up soon? Oh, you are up.
I'm just waiting for you to... I'm not recording, are you?
Yeah, I can hear your voice. I won't inspect the tent. I'll leave you guys alone a bit. Hey, which year is this built?
No idea, honestly. I think it has a lot of information.
There's usually speculation in it. Like, we have done dating which by the latest techniques tells us it's from 1901. No, I'm just kidding. You know, you'd think they'd put something like that on here. They're pretty crap at things like customer service in Bulgaria. I will tell you that. Not that what? Yeah. Hey, look, the fire's still going a wee bit. Just a tiny little bit inwards. It's like the perfect. Man, that was sick, wasn't it? Right. Getting back to HyperCash. The reason they're scumbags. So. The good thing is that their customer service is pretty good. They got back to me in record time, tell me that the hcash that I had on my ledger was gone, irredeemable, useless now. But they warned us. They said they put notifications out, like I'm sitting there paying attention to their project constantly, like you would have to. Now, if you have a project where a crypto project where you can put money into it and that money can literally go missing. One second, there was a while ago, this happened with some other currency. Oh, it'll come to me in the course of the video, possibly. Anyway, I gave the example. I said, look, years ago, I bought Bitcoin and I almost lost it, and same as Litecoin. I had it on wallets for 5 years and thought, oh shit, it's really taken off now. I better do something about going on and checking to see if I can get into it. And sure enough, I can't remember the name of the wallet I was using years ago, but for both of them, I think it was the same company for both of them, same producers. Anyway, I can't remember it. It's not going to come to me. It's my memory shit. But my point being, it took me only about a couple of days to get into. No, it took me about a day to get in the Bitcoin one. Just messing around over a space of a few hours. It took me almost 3 days to get into the Litecoin one. That was a real pain in the ass. And then I thought to myself, shit, now I better move to things like Ledger. I had it sitting on a soft wallet for all those years, you know. I had some on paper wallets too, actually. But anyway, you've got to. Well, I moved to the Ledger and Trezor and stuff. And just to get used to all the way they work, you know, the weird dot thing that Trezor has and stuff like that. The thing that's really annoying is you find out, even with Ledger, you can get outdated and stuff, and you don't do things properly, like writing down your keys properly, or let's say you get a key wrong, then you can really screw yourself up. So what I end up doing is being more careful. You are your bank, you know. Then you have a situation like HyperCash where they basically inflict you with something that doesn't even need to happen. They give you an issue that wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for them. If they just manage things properly, you know. So what they said is they basically shut it down, allowed a token swap for 6 months. It couldn't be open-ended, of course. You know, imagine how much money their project made out of denying people what they've paid for. So basically they're thieving MFs, right? I'm going to try not to swear in this video. But, because what they could have done, as I say, is they've got a copy of the blockchain. They don't have to sync it up to all the other nodes. They can make a closed intranet version. They can still leave it open for people. It's a pain in the ass, but hey, that's what you have to do when you decide to do these sort of things. You know, it's just, I don't know. People can say it's my fault because you know, not bothering to read the white paper with a fucking, you know, with a. I suppose I did read that before. Yeah, not bothering to take heed from what I read, right? So yes, it is my fault. I'll be the first to say it, but I still think it's useless because you know that most people won't even read the white paper, right? So what you're really doing is, gotcha, and I do not want to be in business ever with a company that says gotcha. Luckily, most of my hcash was actually on Binance, so I was able to sell it, just dump it. You know, not rather than wait for, because I think 2017 is obviously a lot higher than it was now. It's the same with a lot of coins I still hold. But yeah, no longer taking part in that one. That's why I'm just saying, if you guys are out there, F you, on ever watching this, yeah, assholes. Anyway, I might take that back if you, actually I won't, because the thing is, you put this thing in place for everyone. So let me give you an example of supermarkets, right? Supermarkets often will overcharge you for something, and then you will finally waste your time going back and say, this is meant to be $1. You bloody charged me here $3. Oh, sorry, sir, let's give you a refund. Are you going to hunt down everybody that you defrauded and pay them back? No? Well, I'm not really interested in the refund. I don't really give a shit. What I care about is you're thieving scumbags. And you owe a whole bunch of people. And if a child stole a candy bar, you'd be all upon his ass like a piece of toilet paper, but no. The law doesn't do anything to them. So this is the double standard. Well, this is the kind of thing, when I see a crypto player like this doing something that's really meant to defraud people, I think you're a pack of scumbags. I'll never believe in your project. Because you know why? There's a lot of other projects out there, and Dash and Monero have a foothold. So does Zcash, Z Classic, and Zcoin. And you know, even Pryvate has a following, although I just don't trust it because it's not mineable, but that's another story. Verge, you know, you see over the last couple of years what I've said about Verge. There's no point to repeat it. It's a shitcoin, you know what I mean? Electronium, different story. I think it's got a good community behind it. They had the I don't know if they've moved to ASIC mining yet. Again, I don't have time to keep up all the time, right? But do I need to get penalized for not keeping up? Well, yeah. I mean, if you're trading, yes. But if you're just holding on to something, you shouldn't have to find out you just lost everything from a company that's still in operation. So Hyperledger, you are the HyperCash, HCash. It was called HShare before as well. You're scum, all right? Simple as that. Moving on to Bitcoin Libra. I had a thought last night. Maybe Zuckerberg isn't some kind of, you know, complete asshole like many of us think he might be. Because I don't know for sure. I haven't met the guy. I haven't had a deep conversation with him before. And I just think to myself, you know, the Winklevoss twins do seem like complete twat jocks, right? You have to admit. So maybe what he was doing was defrauding them because he didn't want them to become evil empire. And instead, he's an inside evil empire person who's going to work with the CIA and FBI to spy on the rest of us and break the Constitution on behalf of the government because it's not breaking it when it's your private corporation, right? Maybe he's a good guy because right now what he's trying to do is screw up some of the usual players. He knows that crypto's got them all messed up, but at the same time, he's going to be competing against the banks, so therefore he's going to have to get past the SEC somehow. And how's that going to be possible? By telling them the truth. Your whole paradigm is completely effed, and people like Craig here are so happy about it in the Bitcoin Roadshow that yeah, we couldn't think of anything better than have time roll on and steamroll over your puny little heads. Those people that actually, you know, had folks' houses taken off them all over the world, and mortgagee sales of all types of businesses as well, commercial properties, that kind of thing, that all got damaged, not just by the internet, but also by the fact that some greedy anal louses out there were sucking more money than what the parasitic hosts had to give, right? So in that respect, I wonder if he, okay, a few little theories here. What if he's so desperate for validation from his fellow man, potentially? Nah, just kidding. Let's say he's so hung out for that validation that he actually wants to kind of help basically put the nail in the coffin. That'd be good. Or maybe he wants to make himself look popular, to make it look like, hey, look guys, I was part of this too, where he wasn't really, because he could have done it a lot sooner, a lot sooner. Anyway, that's my point on Libra coin, because it is going to make a lot of potential problems for either themselves, or if it doesn't make problems for themselves and they take a little private conversation with the financial regulators and say, psst, your whole financial paradigm's failing, psst, don't tell anyone. If they have that discussion and say, we're here to allow you to have a potential chance at derailing Bitcoin, which won't happen, and compete against these other financial markets, these other players in the old dinosaur financial market, right? MoneyGram, PayPal, Cash App, even Venmo and Send and TransferWise, right? Because it allows, well, it allows the 1.5 billion people who have a Facebook account, and those people, by the way, are multiples of 10 to 20 on average, because of the balance of scammers you get in the third world who have 20, 30, 40, 50 accounts. And then the people who used to have accounts that don't have them anymore because you guys are just censoring everybody and they couldn't be bothered with you anymore. Anyway, how many accounts are really? Probably something around I estimate something around the, let's say, 100 million to 200 million range. I know it sounds very, very conservative, and it is. You know why? Because I'm not going to hype them. I'm not going to make it seem like it's 500 million when it's not. Or it could be, but I'd rather say it could be less, right? I'll be conservative on my estimates. They have nowhere near the number of people that say they have on there. You know how many scammers are on these things. Mr. Bongani Ngogwo from Nigeria, or whoever it might be, right? Actually, I don't think they click in their voice, I think it's Zulu and Xhosa. But besides the point, don't let that get in the way of my bigotry speech. It's not really bigotry speech, I'm just trying to press buttons with social justice warriors who've never actually been to Africa. Anyway, moving on to the final thing, which is, I'd have to rewind to the start of the video to remember what that was. So I'm going to leave it here. Oh, that's right, it was Bitcoin price prediction. It's 65,000 at the end of this year. Now, I in the past I've said 65 to 100k, and the 100k would keep. It doesn't really make a difference. It doesn't have to reach 100 to reach 1 million at the end of 2020 if you were to look on the various price predictions that say 1 million, because it's not just McAfee, by the way, that says that. So there's that, and yeah, the reason why I think it's going to go there is because where it's already recovered to right now. Look in 2017 when it popped up from 1,000 to 6. That 6 to 10 mark was so rapidly that it's a hockey stick at the end of the year. I think the same thing's going to happen this year. And big pullbacks again. But what you can be sure of is that the next time it goes back, like it takes a what's it called again? I've just woken up recently. Still, that'll probably help. Chewing gum, right? So if it gets a price correction after 65 to 100,000, whatever the TA says, it's going to start petering off again and get a pullback. When that pullback happens, so in other words, the next peak, whether it's 65 or somewhere between there to 100,000, and I know it's a big range, but it means nothing because it's going to go way higher later on, right? Whenever that does happen, the banks are going to have their last ever opportunity to FUD Bitcoin, right? So the advertorials that they put on news channels and on pretend financial news channels, they will. That's the last shot they've got, because after that you start to look like a complete twat when you've called bubble so many times. If you look at the Bitcoin obituaries on YouTube, you'll see what I'm talking about over the last 10 years to show how many times they've said that Bitcoin has died, and it just keeps on coming back and blasting previous highs. That's why it's going to blast 20k. That's why right now, well, I live in a bus because I don't want to put anything towards the old system. I want to put everything towards a new system, and that means I actually don't buy any more gold and silver anymore. I still keep it, but I don't buy any more of it. And it's not that I don't believe in it, it's I believe there's a place for it, and I believe I have enough of it. If I believed that sooner, I would have done a lot better off of crypto. So yeah, All I'm saying is get in on it. Get in before the banks do. That's what matters. If these assholes keep people out of this market, all it means is that they buy in. Let's say, for example, they buy in at 10, then they buy in, then they sell half of what they got, bring the market down again. And then they buy in at 6, and the whole time they're telling you not to buy. Then they even buy 100,000, right? Then they buy at 10, and you only get in at 1 million. That means the dollar cost average, it might work out that they've got all the plunder, that all that wealth they misappropriated over the years. They end up being able to funnel it into Bitcoin without you even noticing. And so let's say their average buy-in price across the billions that they put into it, billions of dollars they put into it. Let's say the average buy price that they're unhappy about, but they paid anyway, was, let's say, 65,000 to 100,000 Bitcoin, right? Per Bitcoin. And now the mainstream average Joe, when you take humanity overall, their average buy-in price now, given the fact that most of humanity still ain't buying it yet, their average buy-in price is 1.5 million. Imagine that. Imagine what that does to the wealth, the already massive chasm that is the wealth disparity all across this world. Imagine what it does to that. Imagine what it does to the 1%, which they don't even exist. It's a 0.001. It'd be like probably 15 zeros before 1, before you really have the people that rule this world. It's you know, it's a handful of people who have the lion's share of capital, right? Well, that will get, well, it already is getting bigger because these people are already involved. These people are financial analysts. They can be like Buffett and everything and Jamie Dimon and say what they want about being a fraud and all this sort of stuff. But the reality is they can see the writing on the wall. They know they've been wrong, and they're so greedy, you cannot keep people like that away from a good thing, right? So of course they bought in. Even Peter Schiff, this sneaky bastard, you know, saying that he's a gold maximalist. A lot of bullshit. He's diversified into different things. He's just trying to dump his gold. He's got so much. He's also got companies that deal with it. So of course he wants to continue peddling that one, but it's not really peddling it because he's right. I mean, gold will go up. But you know, it's a long shot. When I say long shot, it's going to happen, but it's going to take a long time, potentially. And the gains, you know, will they really be as big as what you can make in crypto? Probably not. And I'm not saying don't buy gold because I own gold. So, you know, I'm just saying that I won't be buying any more of it because for the rest of my life, no matter what happens, it's like, well, that should be enough to get wheat and necessities when the world collapses. I don't think it's going to collapse. I think there's too many smart people doing too many good things for everything to collapse. But my price prediction, like I said, I was wrong in 2000, wrong a few times in the past, like 2013, and again in 2017 when I said $10,000 Bitcoin. Sorry, 2016, I said $10,000 Bitcoin. In the end of 2017, and it jumped to 20. So I'm going to say again, rather than 65 to 100, I'm just going to say 65,000. That's my target for the end of 2019. You saw it here. And with any luck, we'll overshoot that by a long shot. I won't be complaining that I gave an inaccurate price prediction again.